what I hope to do here after you leave is I hope to help you, number one, behind the screen, like how does the machine, how does it actually work? Okay, so hopefully you have a better understanding of how that works. The second thing I'm trying to do is you walk away here with some ideas of what you can do to help your business to control it better. Fair? Deal? We'll see how, that's my bar, that's what I'm gonna try to do. I don't know if I'll get there. Before I do that, I have to remind you, and this is something I talked about this summer, is there is a massive paradigm shift, and Amazon's obviously a huge part of it. It is the paradigm shift that for 100 and some years, the manufacturers and the retailers got to decide what the consumer saw, where they bought it, how much it was, and what the value proposition was. They had the control. And what's happened with the age of the internet, and Amazon obviously a huge part of that with price matching and everything else, is the paradigm shift is the consumer now has so much control to decide what they want, where they want it, what the value is, and how to buy it with the mobile, everything else. So I just wanted to reiterate, that's a big part of this, is the big paradigm shift. Now, quick question, raise your hand if you're an independent specialty retailer out there. Here, okay, I'm just trying to get a sense of my crowd here. Somebody who out there is from a manufacturer brand side? Okay. Great. Where's Sarah? She said, you're talking to independent specialty retail. But really, the other paradigm shift that's happening, and I asked that question because I've been saying this for a long time. Brands are having to become retailers, and retailers are having to become brands. And that is a huge, titanic shift that is going to take a long time because retailers typically aren't used to being brands, and vice versa. Brands, they aren't set up to do it. So that's that. Question, who out here control freaks? How many control freaks we got in the crowd? There you go, I got one. Come on, seriously. Come on, if I asked your friends, family, come on, there we go. Well, I got some good news and bad news, I guess. That's the biggest mind-boggling challenge with Amazon, is you can't control it. And that's a problem for a lot of people. Because Amazon, and you got any suggestions? Amazon is a what kind of company? That's right. It's a retailer. It's actually becoming one of the biggest logistic companies in the world. It's an entertainment company. It's a software company. It's actually a device manufacturing hardware company. It's all kinds of things, but at the core, it's a technology company. And that is, you have to understand, what I'm trying to get a set up first of all for you, is understand how they think, why their models, why their structure of their businesses are set up, because it's all about how you can try to survive and thrive and win and have as much control as possible. So they are a technology company. The amount of patents they have are unbelievable. The other big thing I want to remind, if you saw this presentation this summer, I apologize, a couple repeats, but it's very important to me you understand. They start, and someone said this, they are customer obsessed. So everything you see do here is all about the customer. And in our company and our jobs, we need to think about this a little more as well. And I had to throw this in there. Jeff Bezos, the CEO, remember, when you're dealing with these guys, that is the goal. Your margin is their opportunity. That's the reality. Always keep that in mind. Okay. Behind the screen. What I'm trying to do today is get behind what you guys see and show you how this thing works. The first thing, and this is kind of a weird picture, but it's the only way I could figure out how to show this. At its largest, biggest sky level, the way the entire organization is set up is in silos. Absolute silos that at the top here, they all have blinders on. They go to market so quickly and so fast because this is model right here. And what they use is, you probably read, single thread teams, single thread management. What that is they say, you know what, we want to come up with a device that actually you talk to and it can play everything. You're the leader of that. You go out, build your team. All I want you to do for the next year is do nothing but that. Figure out what we're going to do to solve this problem when you're in your house and you want to play something, or you want to look at something, or you want to find something out on the internet, you want to play. That's all they do. That person doesn't have to build and worry about anything else that goes on. It doesn't have to work with Fire. It doesn't have to work with any of the other Amazon products. It doesn't have to work with any of the systems, nothing. Their continual focus is just to build. So that is the single thread, and that's the silo. And like I said, none of the silos, by the way, talk to each other. So as consumer friendly and as wonderful from a consumer standpoint facing it is to buy, to get delivered, it's so dang convenient. I hate it sometimes. On the other side, to sell them or to work with them or have a relationship with them, this is what you deal with. So you can work on one thing and it has nothing to do and has no relevance to anybody else. Then, once the silo is done, and this is in all their different divisions, so they call it general ledgers, GLs, an accounting term. So they have home, they have toys, they have sports, they have outdoor. Those are their GLs, there's 8 of them. They don't talk to each other. Then, when that person built finally the Amazon Echo, at the end they say, here's your Echo. Then they said, oh yeah, by the way, it's got to work with everything. So now you got to figure out how to connect it all. So that's very important when you're dealing with this thing, with the Amazon Beast. You have to understand how they're set up. The other key thing I wanted to talk about is the relationship. So I don't want to, again, tell you a bunch of stuff that you already know. The internet, you know, solves a lot of answers, right? Who, raise your hand if you are a manufacturer selling on the 1P level, and this is how I talk about it. This is Vendor Central, this is Seller Central. Here, you have purchase orders, you have Amazon owns, it's a very traditional retail relationship. How many, raise your hand, are you in that relationship? Okay, great. You deal with a portal you use to run your business, to do absolutely everything, is called Vendor Central. They're mostly, I put an asterisk, see the asterisk? Price followers. Anybody want to debate that? They're typically price followers, but, big but, they have normal markdown cadences like a lot of retailers. And then yes, they have this thing that they created called price matching algorithms. On and off the platform. That's very important. And now, with buy online, pick up in store, when you go to the cart for a store, another competitor, another retailer, it's actually scrubbing that as well and matching. Prime. The big deal with a 1P, what I call a first party relationship, is you're Prime. It's a retail listing and you are Prime eligible. And good, bad, and different, they typically, if all other things are the same, they're going to win the buy box. And we'll talk about the buy box. So that's the Vendor Central. Anybody in the audience a seller on the Amazon platform? All right, great. Happy or sad? No. And this is becoming more of a debate and a discussion as these two worlds are colliding. Every day they are getting more and more. Just to describe this relationship, a seller, you own the inventory. Okay, you use a portal called Seller Central. You get to control the price. The asterisk is only because, of course, in holiday, in certain categories, Amazon thought they were being very clever, and they started automatically actually reducing prices on third-party offers. That was not okay with a lot of people. They didn't take the margin from the seller, they just want to be competitive on price. That's new. The other thing is, there's a lot of ways to slice and dice a third-party relationship as far as how you actually get the product to the customer. The big deal is you have to be, and a lot of acronyms, just like every large organization, FBA, that's Fulfilled by Amazon. You own it, you send it to the Amazon Fulfillment Center. It's not called a distribution or a warehouse, Fulfillment Center. The order comes in, they ship it, and they charge you. So they're a third-party logistics in that sense, right? The key to that is you have a prime listing if you're FBA. Critical. The next way to do, which is a lot of still, actually a huge proportion are still out there in a lot of categories, is fulfilled by merchant, FBM, no prime for you. That's bad. That is changing rapidly. The last one they've come up with, which is an old thing and they keep changing the acronyms, the name is Seller Fulfilled Prime. So let's say you're a retailer, let's say you're a manufacturer, and guess what? You are really, really good at shipping out product to individual consumers. So therefore, you can apply, there's a bunch of requirements, you have to test it, you have to prove yourself, and it's extremely risky, and we caution everybody, make sure you really can do this, but you can actually qualify to be a Seller Fulfilled Prime. Then that gives you a prime offer, but you're not selling it or shipping it to the Amazon Fulfillment Center. How are we doing so far? There's a lot of stuff. We okay? All right, okay, all right, I believe you. The last thing is here. Everybody's competing for the buy box, but if you are a 1P or a wholesale or retail, they call it, you're gonna win if all things are the same. If all things are the same here, oh baby. And that's what we're about to get into. So here's what I call the rules of the game. And another disclaimer, in the next 30 seconds, 30 minutes, 30 days, 30 months, this is changing. What I am saying at this moment can be completely out of date and wrong. Everyone want to leave now? No, okay, good. I want to start because you have to understand anytime you are dealing with this, you're connected, anything, you're looking at it on your phone, wherever, you have to understand machine learning. Remember, they're a technology company. So much of what the consumer sees, what you see, is all automated, personalized off huge behavioral patterns, browsing patterns, the creepy cool stuff that you don't know how they knew you were interested or in the market for this, and all of a sudden it's popping up. Machine learning. This is in every sense of listing items, of creating SKUs, everything. Who goes to the buy box? Who goes down? Who are the listing? Who are the sellers? All of this. And so sometimes when our clients come and go, why is this happening? There's actually, I mean, a lot of times we don't know, we have to go find out, but a lot of times it's because of the machine learning. That's why they are getting the buy box. That's why they're the best offer. I want to tell you a huge secret. If you want to do really, really good business with Amazon, and maybe I'm seeing some shaking heads here, keep in mind, it's a machine, right? What does the machine love? It loves something that never, ever changes. Ever. It's the widget. It goes up, it's listed, it's there forever. It never changed, never moves, because remember, the technology was first built to sell books. Books don't have a lot of color, size, variation. So when you're building your plan, if you're looking to, I already lost one, that's okay. He had a meeting. He already knows what he's doing. The widget, it never changes. I can't tell you how many experienced sellers, retailers, whatever, they forget this. It loves the widget that never changes. That's what it's built for. Doing a bunch of other stuff that comes in and out, it doesn't like that. The first key to building the widget is these. I would have to have like an 85-inch screen, 4K, to get the template, because this could be 30, 50 columns long. It's a spreadsheet. So who loves spreadsheets? Yeah. I hate them. I wish they'd go away. The template was so big it broke my machine. And that's a joke, you know, the president of Item Setup Anonymous, because there's a lot of people, it is eye-numbing, blurring work to set it up. But I have to tell you, if you want to win and you want to have control, the first thing to do to control what you can and to win and get the buy box is right there, baby. All the master build sheets you do, from this description to the specs to the item, every single piece in those cells and those columns is the #1 way to actually control the listing. Any questions about that? Now, if they made it really easy and you said, I want to sell a hat or I want to sell whatever I have to sell, and you went and you go into Seller Central or Vendor Central, they don't make it easy. Because remember, they're a technology company. And as great they are intuitive for consumer experience, they're the complete opposite when it talks to working with brands and retailers. So you go, and one of the keys is finding the right template. That'll kill you. If you don't find the right template and you do all the time and all the work, all of a sudden you're like, why am I, this doesn't look like anything I wanted it to. So be careful. Who knows what an ASIN is? Are you guys all wily veterans? We got newbies? Who do we got? An ASIN. This is their, and many retailers do this is their unique, the Amazon standard identification number. Everything they do, the machine is built off this. And what the ASIN is, the biggest thing that I put down here is UPC EAN, because if you're not running the business and looking at the business by ASIN, by UPC EAN, you're not looking at how Amazon looks at it. So you have to get that granular, that down into the grass, the blade of grass. Everything you do, and a lot of reasons why things break and things are unhappy and there's sadness is because there's a problem with the ASIN. Okay. The ASIN family tree. So they couldn't have just made it really easy and said, oh yeah, it's an ASIN. That's easy, it's a style. And it's great. If you sell a style and it's just a style, and it doesn't have a color, it doesn't have a size, terrific. We like you. But that's not most of the world. Because most of the world has a style, then a color. If you stop there, fantastic. That means you have a parent ASIN and you have a child ASIN. Everything is built off that. If you have a style and it has a color, but oh my gosh, it might be apparel or footwear and it has a size variant, oh, now you've added to the tree because you have a parent and they call it a teenager and then you have a child, which I'm not going to talk about that much longer, but some people call it the grandparent, the parent, and the kid. But when you have variants, that's why it's very difficult to manage listings with multiple variants. It's a data situation. Everybody understand the family tree? Yeah, no.
What would be the difference between a teen ASIN and a child ASIN?
So that's color. So in the one you had style, color, and a size. So the teenager would be the color. In different categories and different people you talk to, by the way, they'll describe it differently. Okay, so just understand that, did anybody hear a question? I don't know. Don't get caught up in this, okay? Just understand. If there's variance, so style, color, and size, guess what? There's gonna be different UPCs, right? Just think of it by the UPC. That's a simple way. Go live by a UPC. Now, this is when it gets fun. Because we're building behind the screen now. This is all the stuff that nobody sees. This is where the battle begins. And it's 1P versus 3P. And then it's muddy and murky and gray as heck is beyond that. What I'm talking about here is the 1P. See this ASIN? In theory, that's supposed to have security around it. Nothing can get in and do anything it's not supposed to break it. The 1P ASIN, that is supposed to be, you know, the Pentagon around it, whatever you want to call it. Nothing is supposed to penetrate, get through that baby. The third party, when you go and set up as a seller central, okay, and you create your own style, which is fantastic, that's a third party ASIN. It's supposed to live on its own little life. But this is what happens. This is why the free market, it gets murky. Am I nerding out too much? Am I getting too just way beyond geeky here? But this is the reality, because this is what you see, right? This is a homepage, one of our great brand partners, Mountain Smith. I'm not going to go and sit through and tell you what I'm going to kind of highlight here, okay? See the Amazon choice? I had a question last time. This is still the biggest question. How in the heck did it get Amazon choice? Because now with Alexa and the voice echo, when you say, I need something and it doesn't have, it basically goes, it doesn't have an Amazon actually private label product to serve up. If it's something that it's querying, it's going to go, the first thing, the top thing is, I'm going to suggest an Amazon choice item. If I want toothpaste, and they don't make toothpaste yet, which again, that could be wrong, it'll serve up the Amazon choice. The vendor didn't pay for it, the seller didn't pay, no one did that. That's all the machine learning and behavioral, and it's based on a bunch of stuff, all the little recipe. The customer reviews, huge, obviously. Who shows up here? I didn't go the whole way, but who gets the float? We call it, above the fold here. All of that is a decision that the machine makes on behavior and patterns. I'm going to try and give you a couple ways to work with that, but these listings, all of this is what you put in. This is where that item detail setup is so incredibly important. The imagery on the left side. All of that is what you sometimes control. But what happens here is, if I have an ASIN, and this happens to be a 1P ASIN, sometimes you go work your tail off, you have a great product detail page, PDP, and you're like, this is awesome. I said it, I'm gonna forget it, we're just gonna sell. And then 2 weeks later, you go back and go, what in the heck happened? That's not my image, that's not my bullet point, that's not what I put. That's a broken one. We call that pollution. That's ASIN pollution. But the machine, because it's an open free market, you're talking millions and millions of SKUs and all these customers and all these sellers, it literally is a living, breathing, moving thing that keeps on changing. It takes constant maintenance. It's annoying. So those are the things, your item there, your name, how that reads, how this reads. All of this is very critical, and a lot of that you can control. The biggest thing that you can control, which is always another factor, is in stock. Behind the machine, in Vendor Central, they have demand forecasting. I'm going to tell you, I've told everybody I've worked with in 11 years in Amazon, and they can check, in stock, I don't care. It's one of the worst forecasting models I have ever seen. Period. If you want to know what the consumer demand is going to be in 3 days or maybe a week or two, terrific, it's awesome. Go pull it, get yourself another spreadsheet. It has absolutely no idea on seasonal items. It doesn't factor in if you're doing a promotion. It doesn't factor in weather, seasonality, anything else. It doesn't even factor in what you sold last year at that time in some regards. They tell me it's getting better. They told me in 2006 it was getting better too. And this is just another friendly public service announcement. How do I get ahead? How do I get my sponsored ad marketing? We're going to talk about that. How do I do it? Remember, all driven by the machine. Talking to the machine, nobody gets to talk to the machine. That's the other thing that is so frustrating dealing with this beast. There's no one to talk to. So millions, it's a 1 to millions. Remember, they're a technology company. They want one person handling thousands of sellers, hundreds and hundreds of vendors. One in-stock person could actually oversee millions of SKUs. So they don't have time. They manage by exception because that's all they're built to do. The system is supposed to do it all for you. Okay. People ask me, well, how do I get this? Or, hey, I had 10 5-star reviews and I've only had 4 here. Why isn't my star ranking above 3.5? Or why is the product detail page? Or why isn't I'm getting served up here? Why am I beating out this guy? It's because of the ingredients. So we're gonna go over the ingredients. The biggest one is, remember, time. I know patience isn't very popular, but time. If you have an item and you have a widget, the longer it is on the platform, the better it will do if it does not change. Time is the greatest constant on the platform. It loves a lot and lots of time, and it's always there to build your relevance. Relevance, relevance, relevance. Ain't no lie, dollar bills, baby, marketing money. And I hope you got more this year than you had last year, the year before, because the price to play is going up. Because we have all the CPG companies, everybody's throwing money, so get your checkout. Product detail page. We talked about that, building it. It's gotta be right, and it's gotta be maintained. Reviews. We all know about reviews. They're cracking down on fake reviews. There's a lot of things about reviews that I'd be happy to talk with somebody. Competition. What's your competition? What's your competition for the buy box? What's your competition on that item? Part of what I talk to independent specialty retailers, you're the greatest merchants, the lost art of all time. Go find something that's not actually on there, that's unique to your store. It's unique to your area. What's my competitive set? And that is all part of the ingredients. And that will lead to the buy box, which is the holy grail, what everybody wants. All right? Is there anybody coffee? Anybody need coffee? Or does they say coffee? You need some coffee? We okay? Does everybody know all this stuff? I mean, we okay? Are we, anybody learning? No? Okay. Sarah. Here are the have-to-dos. There's many other have-to-dos, but here's what we call kind of the have-to-dos. Number one, the big one, Amazon Marketing Service. There is no doubt, people, even from the brands that we represent, we had 3% over and above their discount. It's 5, it's 10, it's going up to 15, it's ridiculous. Your cost, you've got to do Amazon Marketing Service. Well, I could do a whole segment, a whole thing on that. They have many flavors. Sponsored products is the best one. Headline search is the next one, depending on what you want to do. So marketing services, you can look all that up. Prime offer, you got to have a prime offer. Because if you have any type of competitive set and you're not prime and somebody else is, the numbers are saying you're going to lose. Captain Obvious, in stock. But guess what? It's easier said than done. You got to be in stock. And if you're doing Fulfilled by Amazon, you got to make sure the fulfillment center has it. They got to be in stock. I can't emphasize that this is, you can go on YouTube and look at a bunch of Amazonians and a bunch of experts and blah, 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 the product detail page. Get the basics right, yes, but what people do is they just leave it alone. You have to constantly maintain it and look at it. Take care of it. The price. Everyone wants to talk about all this other stuff. I mean, let's just cut the crap. If you're not the best price and the best offer, you're losing. Done, you're over. The other thing is, depending, and this is not dedicated management. What I mean about that is, whether you're an independent specialty retailer and you're doing slow and you just opened a store and you're kind of using your inventory, which I'm a huge fan of, depending, it doesn't matter where you are in the process of working with or dealing with Amazon, or if you're trying to decide if I'm going to or not, the game has changed. You've got to have somebody who is dedicated to watch this thing, run the Amazon Marketing Services, run those campaigns, a cost per click, paid search. You got to have somebody watching it. The competition is fierce. You got to have somebody cleaning the data constantly. The catalog is all about the data. Okay? How are we doing on time? We're good. Any questions? To me, this is, if you don't have these, well, like I used to tell people I used to sell, like, if you're only going to buy, go buy stocks and make yourself some money. I mean, it's not worth it. If you can't do those, then it's going to be a rough ride. I'm just saying. Okay, Scott, that's great. That's awesome. Guess what? Everybody else does that stuff. So what can I do? And my disclaimer here is always, what I'm going to tell you as far as possible ways to win and possible strategies could change in the next 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or tomorrow. Private label, huge trend. It started 3 years ago, so a lot of specialty retailers, a lot of people from all over. You're getting from Asia, factory direct, private label, because guess what? One of the biggest problems is if you're competing with that 1P ASIN, you don't own the ASIN. You just lower your odds of winning. So if you create private label, now this can be as silly as if you have your store name on mugs and if you have a cool logo on t-shirts and hats. I'm not kidding. You would be surprised how many $1 million stores you have of stuff like that. Just give it some thought. The other thing is exclusives. And this ties into whether you're a retailer, when you're a manufacturer, whether you're a brand, whether you're a retailer trying to get exclusives from a particular brand that you can list on the platform while abiding by their pricing policies and reseller policies. I'm a big fan of that, by the way. Exclusives. This could be as easy as, I have a great jacket, but guess what? The jacket's probably not a great idea. I have a great backpack. It's got a product detail page and it is humming. And the specialty retailer says, will you make me 300 of those blue pop polka dot ones? Yeah. So there you go. That's an exclusive that only you are listing. You own the ASIN. It's fantastic. So these are different things that if you can create exclusives, that's great. Now exclusives can mean, and a lot of retailers are doing a great job about this, are saying, hey, brand X, Y, and Z, I want to be the, if you're picking 5, me. I want to be one of the 5. That's also exclusives. A lot of brands are doing that, and that works. Social. How many in your brands or your stores or wherever are doing a good job on social media? Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those things, as far as promoting and driving and marketing. Anybody? Raise your hands. A little bit, dabbling, as I say. I highly recommend. Drive your social. If you have a product that you're trying to drive it back to that product detail page. Put the URL in there and drive it back to that product page. Or if you have your direct-to-consumer store, your e-com store, do that. The margins are better. And then the other thing is dedicated resource. This isn't for everybody. I'm not sitting here going, you should be on Amazon, you shouldn't be on Amazon. I could slice and dice that all day long. We do with our brands. Because I'm a brand guy, I want what's best for the brand. What's great is if you have the perspective of the whole picture, then you have a long, sustainable gondola ride instead of the roller coaster when you're doing what's right, not only just on the Amazon platform, but actually it's not gonna just sacrifice all the work and time in the specialty retailers and all those partnerships. So there's my speech about that. If you're serious, go find somebody to do this or learn yourself. That's why God created YouTube. It'll tell you how to do everything. Or you can call myself. There's a tremendous amount of great expertise in this room, in this hall. Okay, I asked you who is the control freak. Well, who's the control freak now? This is the greatest creepy, cool Big Brother movement of all time. And it's called the Amazon Echo system, the Internet of Things. Who has some type of Alexa Echo device in their home office or car? It's listening. What it's doing is it's feeding the machine. Just remember, it's feeding the machine. Everything you do, any input, it's feeding the machine. I can't just emphatically tell you guys, because everything is driven by that. The other big thing is, I could go on with all the different things that Amazon's doing. Anybody had a chance to go to the Amazon Go store, which is the just walk out store? There's no checkout, there's no line, there's no nothing. You walk in, you grab your stuff, it puts you in the virtual cart, and you walk out. There are wholesale foods. Any guesses on HQ2? Denver? No? Austin? All right. You guys are a tough crowd, you know what I mean? Hey. So I want to open it up for questions. But the biggest thing here from a marketing side is, and what's just in its infancy, we're talking to a lot of our brands about this. It's going to be interesting who figured out actually how to get paid search and actually relevance and SEO and SEM, all that jazz, when you're actually using your voice to search instead of you're typing it. That is the next race, and it's already starting. There's beta tests being going out. So as you're building, this is something futuristic, not to deal with now. Just work about getting the ASINs right. Questions and answers at this point, or any questions of any kind. I think we have another mic, or do we? Yeah, I'll just come to you.
So we know that the demand forecast does not work. Do you have any suggestions or tools for us to kind of guess like their replan orders or what they will be buying into?
Yes, it's really fun. You're gonna love it. What you do is every week and every month you download the actual sales and inventory by detail item report, and you put it in another database and you track it and you consolidate it, and you basically create a forecasting tool by UPC by month. You can get as granular a day and a week if you want. Go for it. And that's what we do. We do that and we look at the demand. Yes, it's one input, but we understand what we're doing all around it and what the competitive set is. So does that answer your question? It wasn't fun. Hold on one second, I'll be right back.
Get scrub reports, we can scrub out the listings. We don't do that, we don't get that anymore. How do we scrub old SKUs?
How do you scrub SKUs? We used to get catalog syncs. Remember you get those emails and said, hey, catalog sync? Great news again. Guess what? You get to do it. So what you do is you have to set whatever reminders and say, every quarter I'm going to do a full catalog download, and I'm going to do a VLOOKUP and cross-reference, and then go hire, if you don't know, Spreadsheet Genie. And you have to do it manually. Welcome to working with Amazon. Isn't it fun? And I had a question over here. Does that answer your question, sir? Unfortunately, it's brutal. I'm just going to tell you, it's brutal.
I didn't want to steal your spot.
No, that's okay.
Thanks for doing the talk. We have an Amazon agency here in Denver,
Yep.
and we often coach clients to use and leverage Seller Central against Vendor Central to help control some of the inventory flow, forecasting, get better data. Can you just talk a little bit about that, how you leverage one against the other?
Yeah, I didn't even go down that road. What he's talking about internally at Amazon, they call it the hybrid model. And what the hybrid, what he's talking about is you're both. So remember we had the silos here, you had 1P and you had 3P? That is where you're actually utilizing both. Meaning, I talked about an exclusive variant, an exclusive color backpack. What you could do there, and this is one example of how do you maximize both sides of the platform, which I'm a humongous fan of hybrid. If you work on the vendor side, be careful when you talk to your vendor managers or the people there, because some of them, they do not like that. They do not want you opening up a third-party store or anything. But what he's talking about is when you actually utilize that product page, which you have a 1P offer, a wholesale offer, but you have a third-party store, you have a third-party listing, and it shows up on that product detail page for that main style. That is a great way to introduce new variations, sizes, colors, and there's a million other things which your agency or whoever you work with, if they're understanding how the system works, everything I just told you behind, there's a lot of great things as far as stock. So you can manage it and use your demand or your reporting tool that you've built, and there's other ones that they're working on it. And Seller Central is way better. BT Dubs, Seller Central, way, way better. The other thing from a kind of just operational side, Vendor Central is still EDI, which is an old, heavy, antiquated, horrific technology that needs to go away for all of us. APIs, which we can nerd out about tech stuff there, Seller Central is all real-time dynamic information. So the reporting, the information, the accuracy, the times you can change and affect is so much faster, so much better. Word on the street is that they just actually internally, this could be like too much, but the funniest thing to me is Amazon on Vendor Central for years, they weren't even using their biggest margin and their biggest profit maker, AWS. They just in 8.17 now actually are starting to use for all their internal reporting and everything AWS. I just thought that was funny. So the word on the street is in 18, Vendor Central is actually going to go to an API situation. So the reporting, all the benefits of have real-time information will be better. Did I answer your 3P, 1P? There's a lot of different things from a stocking standpoint. So if you don't say, like, hey, this item I've listed it, Amazon's not buying it. What's up? Well, you know what? I'm going to put that item in my Fulfilled by Amazon fulfillment center, my third-party store, and I'm going to fulfill because I'm going to be in stock on that item. So that's another great way that you can do it. I am not, if we want to get into the whole hybrid thing, not a fan of listing duplicate listings, unless there's a very specific strategic reason. I am just getting real down in the weeds here. Any other questions? Uh-oh. Hey now, you guys step into the, I can come to you.
So I guess I'm curious, how do brands and retailers create value for the consumer, right? You're like, all of this ends up being, you're bidding, you're manipulating the buy box, right, to get in front of customers. Then how do you create value? How do you create LTV? How do you get them back to you? Because in a market where there's 5,000 of us competing for the buy box, how does one go about creating that store value, especially that a lot of people are attracted to in the outdoor space?
This is like the greatest plug segue. I don't know you. Have I ever met you in my life? No, I haven't. Guess what? Tomorrow, kids, at 2:30, right here, same bat channel, same bat station, we're going to answer that exact question. It's what I call living the omni-channel life. What are the tactics to live the omni-channel life? And that is it. Because, yes, you can manipulate this system, but there are certain things you don't have control of because it's all behavior, it's feeding the machine, right? We've been all feeding it for years. Predictive purchasing. We haven't even tipped the iceberg of the Internet of Things and how it's going to know you need something before you even know it. So creating experience and value, are you talking about the physical store as well? Are you talking about on Amazon? It's incredibly difficult. I haven't, again, if you have a silver bullet, come see me after this. Because I have not found or seen one silver bullet that's gonna save everything. How you do that is make sure the brands and the retailers and the partnership, you're delivering what you are trying to make yourself different than everybody else. And that could be exclusive, that could be an SMU, that could be a lot of different things. It also could be how many people are you competing against? And what are the situations? So I'm not trying to slide by your answer. This is like the biggest question of the world. How do we do this as an outdoor industry? Because if you didn't hear me this summer, you can like this, hate this. You got to do what's right for you and your business. Guess what? This is not even close to going away. In fact, it's going to get bigger and it's ridiculous. I predict they're going to come out early February and they're going to report 30% growth year over year, which is out of control. The prime numbers are out of control. I love them and I hate them and they scare the crap out of me. How's that? So, we got one more.
I manage a brand on a 1P relationship with Amazon, and we work with many retail partners on the 3P channel that we're happy to support. But there's also a high level of third-party sellers that are kind of fly-by-night. We don't know who they are. They don't uphold the brand value. I know it's a big mess of a question, but do you have any strategies on how to clean that up or what to do about that?
I do. That's the other big question in the room, in every room that I go to, and everywhere, all of us. How do we, if I have a very sound pricing reseller policy, so I have a MAP policy, big fan, my big suggestion to everybody, and a lot of people, don't have an internet agreement, have a reseller policy that has very clear, defined, specific rules. What they can do and what they can't do. And how, there's no silver bullet to find all the unauthorized sellers is what you're talking about. But there are many, there's so many, there used to be 10, 20, 30, now there are probably over 100 online monitoring price tools, okay? The key is to find the right one that is actually an enforcement tool that's not going to take a team of 5, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to employ. We have one. We like Brand Protection Agency, not a great acronym for the outdoor business, but they have a channel called Channel Sync. What they do is they've automated and make a great customer experience. It's very intuitive, and if you load all the stuff, I like it because depending on the size and SKU, it will take you a half hour to hour to actually manage. It automates. It does all of it. It has templates for the Nastagram 1, 2, and 3, and whatever you have. They're not the only one. They're the ones that we like, but they're not the only ones. There's also, if you use Chrome, and now Firefox is coming up, go look at the extensions. It's incredible how many in the last 30 to 60, 90, 120 days, how many new browser extensions to monitor price, monitor copy, monitor all these different things. You guys have been incredibly patient. One more.
If you could change or innovate one thing about the Amazon 1P and 3P experience, what would each be to improve the Amazon business model in your experience?
If I had that answer, I probably wouldn't be standing here. I don't know where I'd be. But, so do you mean from a consumer, his question, did everybody hear the question? How would you improve or innovate the experience from 1P and 3P? From a consumer side or from the manufacturer, from our side? How much time do we have? But anyway, first of all, I would get the engineers to go have a drink and talk to somebody who actually uses the tool every single day, who's the consumer, or the vendor manager, or the people that have to run the businesses. And I'd have them come and go, see what we have to do just to find one answer? It's brutal. Fix that. It's working. They're getting the 3P world on the back end side, behind the screen, Vendor Central, Seller Central. I'm telling you, in 18, it's all going to be one. There's goods and bads. What I would do is, the reporting is horrific, much better on seller than vendor, but you can talk to vendor people or seller people who like vendor better and blah, blah, blah. Their reporting, again, they're a technology company. Nerds, engineers, phenomenal humans. I love them, thank God for them. But they're sitting in the silo, remember? The Amazon Vendor Central team, their job is to do one thing. So I would have a lot to say about vendor central. I've actually done this. I've written letters, I've screamed at the top of the mountain, I've done everything. They need to make it easier for us, the people running it, to actually drive proactive business decisions and give the consumer the best experience for the brands and manufacturers or the retailers. Wow, that was a wordy answer, but I don't think I really answered anything. Anything else? Whew, 52, what am I at? What's my elevation? One in the back.
Try not to make this long-winded question. Specialty retailer, don't sell on Amazon. Almost every brand that I have has maybe signed a third-party agreement saying that I can't sell on Amazon. Multiple of them do sell on Amazon directly. How is it a fair playing field for specialty retailers other than selling your own personal stuff?
Personal plug, you should go watch the video, the camp session we did in summer, because I talked about that. Very, very difficult. You're a specialty retailer, I said, so I use the great brand Cool. And there's many other examples, and I am on board. I tip my cap to this strategy. They're saying, we're not gonna sell Amazon and nobody else can. That's one answer, one way to do it. I absolutely applaud the specialty retailer and says, you don't sell to Amazon, but it's not on there. If they say they don't sell, go look on your phone. There could be 1,700 third-party listings. That doesn't mean they're not on there. If they say we're not on there and we're really not on there, which Cool actually does an incredible job, go buy their stuff. If you're a specialty retailer and you're not on Amazon, but you've signed these agreements, you're trying to be a great partner, There's a lot of different things you can do. You need to go explore all the great venture, all the different brands, and see the brands to make yourself specialty. Wrong or right, talk to the brand. Say, hey, what do I need to do because I want to be a third party? Or talk to other buyers, talk to other teams, talk to other buying groups. There's a lot of Fulfilled by Amazon companies. I don't have the right answer because it's very specific on the distribution strategy of the brand, how much business, how do they want to do with you. But it's a difficult choice for manufacturers and brands of how to do this. They actually love, need, want the specialty independent retailer. They also understand that you're probably going to see 65% of humans in the United States, when they go to search a product, they start at Amazon.com. How do you get out of the way for that? You have to be part of, that's what I call the path to purchase. You have to be there. That's the paradigm shift. Again, 3 questions, 3 horrible answers probably, but that's because there's no easy right answer. And I talk about exclusives, talk about SMUs, talk about how you can do it in your way to make it special for your store. We're almost out of time. Any other things? We got our favorites. Stu gets a gold star. I'm going to be, for questions, I also have my incredible teammates here to answer more. They know way, way more than I do.
So I have a hybrid, so we're 1P and 3P, but we've ran into the problem where we've set up like evergreen for 1P and seasonal on 3P, and my VM has found it on 3P and insisted that they get it. So what suggestions do you have for that?
Okay, you can talk to me off afterwards, because this is what's going to happen more and more, and I know this. So I just told you, the 1P, the people, the buyers, they call vendor managers, technology company, they run a spreadsheet. They don't like it in some of the categories where you have a third-party offer. So what I would talk to her and look up, go Google the manufacturer policy, the Amazon retail, it's called Amazon Retail Manufacturer Policy, and go through those, and you have to have a discussion with that person. If you're abiding by all those manufacturer policies, okay, and you have unilateral offers of that selection, unilateral offers of the price, then you have a case to make. And my suggestion is to go to the 1P vendor and talk to her and say, listen, I'm doing this because of this. And either you don't stock it, I'm not getting sales, or guess what, it's seasonal, it's new, and I don't want you to buy it and then come to me after the season and say, hey, I got too many, I got unhealthy inventory. So this is a great way. We're going to test it, we're going to drive some marketing to it, and guess what, I'd love to have a discussion at some point, and so let's flip that ASIN to a 1P listing. But the manufacturing policy. So my parting words of this thing was the cruel reality of control. Guess what? I hope you've come today and learned today that we don't have a lot. So what we have to hang on to. I love Amazon. I hate them. They drive me absolutely nuts. I've been blessed to be in Seattle, Washington, and been able to work with them. There's actually humans behind the emails. I implore you to call Seller Central Support, call vendor manager. There are nice people that want to help you with your business if you can get to them. Thank you very much. I'll be standing somewhere or whatever. Thank you for your patience, your time, everything. And understand the beast. Whether you work with them, don't, you gotta understand how they work so that you can survive. Thank you very much. Have a great rest of the show.